In the last video, we set up a Mocha unit test and got it running. The thing is, it doesn't actually test anything yet. So to help us make some actual tests, we're now going to add an assertion library called expect. So let's first install that, save it as a development dependency. With that installed, let's now require it at the top of our test file. So we'll go const expect equals require expect. Now to use expect, we call the expect method and pass it a value that we want to test. We then chain on one of the available assertion methods. So there are many different kinds of assertions you can make with this library, like to be, or to not be, or to equal. Now obviously you'll use the one that is appropriate for what you're trying to test. So let's begin by using our add method, and we're going to pass it the values 2 and 3. And so we'll assign that to a variable result. So we'll go add 2 and 3. And assuming my math is correct, I think that should equal 5. So what we're going to do now is call expect, pass in the result, and then chain the assertion to be 5. So let's try and run that now. So we'll go npm run test unit server, and you can see that that's passed. Now if we change the value to something that is wrong, like to be 4, and we try and run it again, you'll see that we get this error, and obviously it fails, and in this case that's a good thing. So let's change that back to 5 before we move on. The last important concept we need to address before we can start writing our real API tests is testing asynchronous methods. Now this is important because our API will need to read and write the database, which are asynchronous operations. So let's begin by making our demo test run asynchronously. Now an easy way to do this is to create a set timeout. We'll pass that a function and we'll let this run for a second. Then we can move our existing assertion into that. Alright, if we try to run that, you'll see that the test passes just fine. But if we change this value to something that's wrong, like to be 4, and then we run it again, you'll see that it seems to pass at first, and then it throws an error after that. So the point is, this strange behavior is due to the fact that the test completes before the timeout completes. And so Mocha initially assumes that the test is passed. Now, to fix this, we need to tell Mocha that this is going to be an asynchronous test. It's very easy to do that. You just have to pass an argument to your test function. You can name it whatever you want, but normally it's called done. And then you can put that inside the asynchronous part of your code, and you just call that after your assertion has been made. So now that we've done that, let's set the value to be the correct value again, and we'll run it. And that works fine. And if we set it to a wrong value, this time it just throws the error as we'd expect it to. Another way to make an asynchronous test with Mocha is to return a promise from the test. So I've just rejigged our previous example to use a promise instead of a set timeout. Now the good thing about this kind of test is that you don't actually need to use the done callback anymore. If you simply just make the function async and then return your promise, Mocha will know to wait until the promise has resolved. So we're probably going to be using this method of asynchronous testing most frequently throughout the course.